Okay, man, what is your controversial airsoft opinion?
Honestly, I really, really hate when people cannot stand airsoft being a sport. And I know like there's so many people that want to say, people take it too seriously. It doesn't make sense as a sport. But I think, for example, Speed QB and Fight Night and CSL Airsoft, what we've done, you are an athlete when you play that. You are competing. Stuart, I don't know if you agree with this, but like, I don't understand why people have to think that it has to be just a hobby. It doesn't make any sense to me.
You're listening to the Defrowe Airsoft Podcast, hosted by Stuart Rowe. Meet the legend. Meet the legend.
This episode is brought to you by Hefe's Airsoft Solutions. Use code DEFROWE10 at checkout. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Defrowe Airsoft Podcast. Today, on this episode of Meet the Legend, we are sitting down with Tom Sun from KWA. Thanks for joining us, Tom.
Hey, thank you. Very humble to be on here. Really appreciate the opportunity. And there's a lot of things that I'm seeing that you're doing that I think is great for the community, and I'm just excited to be here.
All right, so first thing that I want to talk about today, maybe you can help me with this. I was looking around on Instagram and I saw lots of pictures of policemen with airsoft guns. And they weren't like confiscating them from kids. They were actually like using them for training and stuff like that. Like, what's that? Because one of them seemed to have like a KWA gun.
Yeah, actually, we're making huge progress with everything law enforcement training, military training. We actually opened up a subdivision called KWA Training, where we're offering different training platforms for law enforcement and military. Key thing is there's so many different training platforms available right now, but I think with the airsoft, the technology hasn't. It's a new thing for the technology to meet the standard of good training, for people to actually feel realistic enough, for people to actually be able to take airsoft seriously as a training tool. And because we've entered, I guess, the phase of our company and what we're manufacturing, I think our guns are really to spec with the weight, with, people could put on attachments, with the way that trainers could feel like they're using their own gun.
So they're basically one-to-one.
One-to-one, yeah. And that allows people who have never heard of airsoft in that mindset before to appreciate it. We meet a lot of people that say, oh yeah, I've played airsoft when I was like 12 and played BB guns, but to them, it's always like it's a toy. So for them to actually pick up, for example, our new M4D, it completely changes and it allows them to be creative of what they could do with it.
So it's just taking it to the next level. It reminds me of like the Sistema stuff, which like apparently was used for like army training, and all the guns were one-to-one, and they even had to like develop new motors and stuff like that so they could fit in the handle and have the handle the correct width and all that stuff, so you could get that one-to-one training. So that's basically
for sure
the avenue that you're going down at the moment.
Yeah, and plus I think the biggest thing about airsoft is the cost efficiency. We're going to a lot of people, and
BBs are cheaper than bullets.
Absolutely. And we're talking to a lot of people, a lot of like individual policemen, and they're telling us about budget issues, what kind of budget's allocated as a resource for them, and it's not as high as you would hope it would be. So with airsoft, they're able to purchase something that they could practice at home. They could hold their own individual training sessions if they wanted to. We're giving them all the tools to do that. And even like what's really cool, and I know you've talked to someone before about this, where we're implementing like the immersive VR and AR training stuff now. We're actually going to work with companies like Magic Leap,
Nice.
Milo Training. Yeah, and just these are like leaders in those industries who are looking to create training platforms, and we're going to be working with them and demoing and just showing off everything that we have to offer with airsoft and technology. So it's a very exciting time for KWA. Very exciting time for our team. Our team, we get the luxury of coming to work excited every day to have some kind of goal to accomplish with this stuff. So it's really great.
Nice. Is it going to be like the classic one where you just use like a Picatinny mount and you just put your cell phone on your phone and you use that? Or is it going to be like a little different?
There's that. That's our partner Virtual Shot. And
I know Virtual Shot. I downloaded that last week.
Oh, dude,
I haven't used it yet though.
It's fantastic. It's one of the best things because it's so practical and easy to use, and every airsofter could have fun with it, But yeah, there's the using your phone mounting. That's one version. There's the VR glasses where we could put you in scenarios. For example, like if you're law enforcement training, a lot of the training comes with de-escalation, right? So what happens when you're facing an active shooter and you're trying to de-escalate the situation? That's the scenarios that these VR programs are generating. And there's also like the force on force, So with AR, the coolest thing about what we're doing Magic Leap is, imagine if you put on these glasses, you're in a room, you could scan the layout and generate like 20 shooters that you have to go after. It's gotten to a point where that technology is becoming more available. And so that's why pairing up with Airsoft makes a lot of sense. There's even more to training than VR and AR. Like we're working with a lot of companies who do, let's say, the laser training, which is
like laser tag.
No, like laser ammo, where you're kind of like shooting at a screen. So that doesn't require any headsets if that's not your thing. There's also a few more companies that I cannot list right now.
Sure.
But where I think it's a very exciting time once again, just because of how many different people and different types of technology is trying to adapt. And it's like, there's so much limitations of using actual firearm. So the fact that the M4D is such a perfect platform for all of this, I think it speaks volumes to the potential Airsoft has in training.
Well, yeah, it's not good to use a real firearm in your house, and even using an airsoft gun in your house, I can attest it breaks glass. So
yeah, so ideally you're using these modified platforms that you don't have to shoot any projectiles.
It doesn't sound fun, but I guarantee it's going to be lots of fun just to play in your house. But as soon as you say like real guns but not shooting, airsoft but not shooting, it's like, but you use the caveat, but you get to use it in your house. Yeah, all right, yeah, that is pretty cool.
I think what's hard to imagine is the immersiveness what VR and AR could bring. I don't know if you've ever like played a really fun VR game, but when it's a 360 threat, like you might be sitting on your couch, right? I think I played Resident Evil, and there's a threat behind me that something might pop up, and I'm not a big fan of like this horror stuff. So, being put in just that type of environment with minimal tools to fight back and defend myself, it's already a scary situation. So imagine what we could do with that type of program, where it's a 360 immersion into a scenario, and there's no limitations on what we could do within the platform.
Yeah, well, I can definitely say it works because like one of the members of my team, his name's Dan, he played Onward, which is a VR shooter, and he got to like the national levels or something.
Oh, wow.
That. So he's just absolutely incredible at this game. And there are transferable skills because he's an absolute beast at Airsoft. Like his ADS, like how fast he can aim down the sight, target acquisition, it's just perfect. Like he doesn't miss a shot. He can, shoot while running. He's getting headshots nonstop. Like I've never seen people being able to acquire and just eliminate targets so quickly. And it's because like when he's playing like Onward and stuff, he uses like a whole rifle to simulate that as well. So
That makes sense.
there's transferable skills.
Yeah. And we're hoping that, it just provides extra layer of value to you owning the airsoft gun in general. Like just imagine if you already have an Oculus at home, you already have an airsoft gun, and now there's something to bridge it so you could use two and two together. I think that's what's exciting about all of this.
Yeah, and there's no good VR guns. So being able to use a airsoft gun in VR is the dream. And it kind of lets you kind of like bridge the gap in the market a little bit, because you got airsoft, you got real firearms, and the communities can be a little split. But if you can let people use the real firearms or airsoft guns for a VR-based training, you're definitely like opening up a whole new market too. So nice.
Yeah, I would share more, but I think my job might be on the line if I do that. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Don't need industrial secrets.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And when do you think these apps and stuff will be released? You can get Virtual Shot now, I believe.
Virtual Shot's available now, and hopefully, if I'm lucky and things go right, Virtual Shot and KW might come out with collaboration projects soon. So be on the lookout for that. Definitely, if you attend SHOT Show, if you're a law enforcement or military, be on the lookout for KW at some of the shows that, for example, like IACP, AUSA, SHOT Show. We're gonna be looking to demo a lot of what we have cooking, and you could expect, the stuff that we're demoing could eventually make its way into the market for everyone to get. So very exciting stuff. And again, like our goal is to first perfect the experience. We want to make sure that it's worth your time and money to put yourself into this immersion, because that, I think that's the most exciting part about being a gamer, is being immersed into that world.
That's it. It's all LARPing in the end.
It is. Yeah, and I mean the some of the best like video game franchises, I think what they do what they do very well is they get you to feel like you and the controller, you're synced, you're one of one, and so for us to actually bring an airsoft gun to work with the game, I think that's as in sync with a controller as you could be.
Yeah, I think I know my airsoft gun just as well as my old like Sega Genesis controller that I put like way too many hours in as a kid. But yeah, I agree. Like real guns or like replica guns are the best controllers. Like you can practice the reload, you can ADS, you can do everything that you want to do. So it's useful training.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, I would love for you to demo it sometime. So maybe once we get some stuff going and some demos available, we'll invite you out.
Yeah, dude, that sounds dope. I'm always up for playing with cool stuff.
Yeah, awesome.
Next question that I wanted to ask you about. I've been scrolling on Instagram, like as I do, I'm just addicted to Instagram. And I'm seeing more and more posts pop up that have your logo in them. And it'll be like the KWA logo, and then it'll say Tactical League. And everyone's using the same logo, and they're putting on different images and stuff. What is that?
Okay, so the KWA Tactical League is something that's very exciting, something that we've been working on for the last 2 years. And basically, the Tactical League is us providing a really immersive experience that's not quite like a Milsim event, but also not your typical day at the field. It lands in between.
So like a Call of Duty event?
Yeah, it's similar to Call of Duty in a sense where every player has a class, and each class you have rules. You have different rules. You could be a sniper, or you could be on the ground, and there's a few different game modes that's depending on the field you're playing at. The game mode adapts to which field that you're at. So one of the best things about Tactical League is that it's a game that we could take and we could travel with it, and we're starting to expand very fast. I think in the first season we had about like one event per 2 months, and now we're at about 3 events per month.
Damn.
So it's growing fast, and we're able to take it to every state so far, and hopefully soon take it around the globe. So yeah, our team is extremely excited about it.
Dude, that sounds great. I'm happy to help you out for anything in Japan.
Oh yeah, we should definitely talk about that. I think one of the most exciting things that we could bring over there is like the organized structure that Tactical League has. And if you're listening and Tactical League might be around your area, definitely recommend you go check it out, because the organizer of Tactical League is Michael from Biohazard, and I hope to introduce you to him soon. He can explain this way more better than I can, but what he and his team are capable of doing is creating, let's say, like it's almost as if it's like a mini milsim op for the day.
I like that mini milsim.
Yeah,
it's digestible.
Yeah, definitely digestible, very accessible. You're not having to spend 2 days. You're not having to spend too much money on it. So there's definitely I think there's a vacant market for that type of event, and we're hoping that we really do a great job at fulfilling that piece of the puzzle.
It sounds fun. Like, I love Call of Duty. Like, that was one of the reasons I got into Airsoft. So if
cool.
I could actually play like a real life Call of Duty match, like, I'm in. That sounds great.
What's like your favorite type of game mode that you've been in? Maybe it's something different.
Yeah, we've done lots of different game modes. Like, I've been doing this for 20 years, so there's been lots of game modes we've played. Recently, one of my favorite game modes is called Vampire, and it's very similar to Call of Duty Infected. So you play it with about 50 players. 3 people will be on one team, and then 47 will be on the other. And the 3 people are vampires, and they can respawn. And if the vampire shoots you, you join the vampire's team.
That sounds fun.
And basically everyone has to run and hide, and then the vampires will just go out, find you, and shoot you. So it really has that hide and seek element to it. But the thing that makes the game really fun is it's a long game. It's like a 20-minute game.
Okay.
The first 5 minutes suck because it's just hiding and the vampires aren't going to find you. But then after a vampire finds where you are and they shoot one of your friends, that friend becomes the vampire. They have to go to the spawn and then come back. But then that person has intel on where you are and where all your friends are hiding. So the more people that become vampires, it gets progressively harder because you instantly lose your position. And then the fun part is your friend will charge in and try to kill you. So you have to then shoot your friend, which is always fun. But it's like friendly fire that's encouraged. So you have a really interesting dynamic where it starts really slow, but the last 5 minutes of this is absolutely hectic, and it's the people will be running back to respawn, then running back to try to get the kills, and you're just facing a whole horde of people where you can be facing 40 enemies by yourself. And it's an interesting experience that you don't normally get in other situations.
See, that sounds so fun because it's it's always the slow build-ups that...
It's a slow build-up, yeah.
Yeah, it's always worth it at the end.
Yeah. So yeah, if you can throw an infected match in there, you'll enjoy it. No one hates this game.
Maybe we plan out an infected Tactical League match together, so we'll talk about that.
Cool. And now for a commercial break. Are you looking for a company that puts the community first? Look no further than Hefei's Airsoft Solutions. The founding principle of Hefei's Airsoft Solutions is to offer a way for players of all types to get the greatest experience possible. Their passion is making a difference in local communities and serving each of their customers with the utmost respect. Become part of the conversation by joining hundreds of fellow Airsofters in their Discord server. There, you can find out about upcoming events, sales, giveaways, and more. Join us today and start enjoying all that Hefei's Airsoft Solutions has to offer. Together, we can make a difference in our community. And for listeners of the podcast, tap into the power of the code DEFROWE10 and save 10% on your next purchase at hefesairsoft.solutions.com. Some exclusions apply. The more you use the code, the more it helps the podcast. Okay, back to the podcast. Now, I
Yeah.
know Fight Night, the video game, but I assume the KWA Fight Night is a little different. It has less boxing in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different. You have the face-offs, you have the two guys staring at each other, face-offs, but that's about as close to it as it gets. Basically, Fight Night, and if you haven't heard about it before, go to Kidbit Insider on YouTube, and the entire first season is there. And if you were to start watching from Fight Night 0 to Fight Night 5, you'll see the growth of us like trying out production, and it's our first time. The first goal of Fight Night was to figure out how do we highlight individual players who have skill. I think it's such an overlooked thing because in Airsoft, it's such a team sport, but you don't really see how good individual players are unless they're just absolutely a tank on the field every single time they play, right? And even if that is, there's not enough footage of these type of players. So my goal is to find the best player. So for season 1, it was just in Southern California. So my goal was to find the best players in Southern California and see who, at the end of it all, like who could win the grand prize. So in Fight Night 0, we got some people, we started interviewing them. And as we learned how to have them talk to the camera, get them used to our game mode, we started figuring out that, wow, like some people are extremely, extremely skilled. So we decided to put a $10,000 prize to the last tournament, which
Nice.
starts from Fight Night 3 to Fight Night 5, right? And I don't want to
I want
spoil it, but
$10,000.
yeah, and I don't want to spoil it, but Fight Night 5, the championship match is one for the ages. If you've watched it, it shows two players that are truly, truly skilled at what they do, and it's an amazing match to watch. So even if you're not trying to watch too much of it, just watch that last match and just see how it goes down. I guarantee you won't regret it. But the biggest goal for KW Fight Night is for us to, again, show individuality, and show that, Airsoft, there's so many more ways we could show the sport of what it is. I feel like there's so much saturated content out there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, that, there's not a lot for people to consume to get new people into the industry, right? Whereas our goal was, what can I make to where my friends who've never even heard of Airsoft before can enjoy watching something? How can I make something to where my wife could watch Airsoft with me, and I think we figured something out. Yeah, we were close, and we've already finished filming season 2. Season 2 is going to be even better because we've incorporated some TV show elements to it. It's going to feel more like a story. And the proudest thing from season 1 to season 2 is that there's groups of people who watch season 1 and they're all like, they're watching it like, oh, I could do this. I'm better than all those guys on the screen.
Yeah.
And for us to get that type of attention and for them to be part of season 2
that could even be like your tagline at the end of each episode. Do you think you're better than this guy?
Oh yeah. And we get people
Ring
DMing
now,
us
toll
all
free.
the time. Yeah. People DM us all the time like, hey, how do I sign up? A lot of people barely watch Fight Night, right, like recently, even though it's been out for a year. And so they're just like, oh my gosh.
They just call you up, hey, I'm better than
existed.
all these schmucks. Get me on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That is the most American thing ever.
that's true. So we filmed season 2, and we're about to hold season 3, and season 3 actually expands from Southern California to all over the US, and we're hoping that continues to evolve into a global thing. And we would love to have, we'd love to find the best players globally and put them all in one place and just see who is the best of the best, and give them some sort of championship. That's my biggest goal, and I hope we could accomplish it soon.
Nice. It sounds like the World Series of Airsoft, which
I
is
think so. And
it's
if you
also
think
a good
about it,
name.
and if you think about it, like watching 10 on 10, it's hectic because there's a lot to watch and consume. But if you're just watching two people, it's the easiest form of airsoft to digest.
Nice, man. That sounds fun. So I'm looking forward to that coming to Japan, and hopefully I can win $10,000. Then I can buy more gear.
Yeah, hopefully.
Also, I've seen lots of posts recently with people talking about new KWA stuff. I see lots of people talking about Ronins and stuff like that. Do you guys have anything else that you have in the pipeline at the moment that you can share with us?
Absolutely. So what's coming out soon, you'll see our F90, which if you haven't seen, it's our AUG. We're coming out with a new ATP, which is exciting because we haven't had a new pistol release in a long time. We did debut at SHOT Show, so if you haven't seen anything about it, make sure you check out the SHOT Show footage. But yeah, those are just some of the products. We have the M10 Q10 that's coming out, I want to say around fall, hopefully. And then we're expanding more on the KO series soon. And I'm going to save that one for a surprise drop. But yeah, a lot of exciting things coming out. Our recent drops, we dropped about 6 rifles for the KO series, which is our polymer line. And
so they're just like lighter?
Yeah, they're lighter. They're definitely built more for CQB, whereas our Ronin and our QRFs, more for any type of player, but more so for outdoor. But yeah, they're definitely lighter. If you were to ever had your hands on the special edition we dropped with SpeedQB, that shows you the capabilities of what these guns could do. And the best thing about them is they are entry-level price points. So, it's easier for you to try out KWA if you haven't already.
Wait, how much are we talking? What's the entry-level price? Because I think everyone has a different understanding.
Yeah, I mean, you're depending on where you buy it, you're looking at about like $250 to $300.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot more on a gun.
Yeah, we definitely we want to target people that haven't had the chance to try KWA yet, and we want to give them something very solid. And I think we definitely accomplished that. And based on the feedback we've gotten from the KO Eve, which is our M4 platform of the KO line, we definitely see that people are not only enjoying the gun, but like having fun customizing it. And we love seeing all the submissions that we get DMs all the time.
Yeah, I like that too. Like when you own a gun and like you deck it out the way you want, and going online and seeing how everyone modified the same gun, you're like, oh, actually, that is a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a dumb idea. And
yeah,
it's cool. Everyone does that. No one can say they've never done that before. Checking out other people's builds of the same gun is half of what you do online in Airsoft.
Absolutely. And we are coming out with more special editions. I cannot share too much yet, but I don't know if you're familiar with our special edition drops, but these things are right now they're pretty rare, especially the one we dropped for the Ronin 47. That particular one is called the Kaiju 47, and the last time we dropped that,
so it's basically the Keanu Reeves movie at that point, because you're putting Kaiju and 47 Ronin together.
Pretty, yeah, and I think we sold out in less than 30 minutes when we dropped it. So it was an amazing drop, and I know a lot of people are asking me when's the next one. So we're working on it.
Nice. Well, we don't really have KWA in Japan, so I haven't seen any of the drops, but it sounds like you've got some great like Japanese themed drops. So maybe like for Japan, you could do some American themed drops or something like that, like the KWA Texas or Like something named after a battleship or something.
We're definitely excited to possibly be in Japan more. We're working on global expansion. So definitely, like, every time I think about the Japanese market, it's like it's so interesting because it feels like there's a big difference with what we're used to here. And maybe you could educate me a little bit. Like, what do you think is like the biggest difference with the two types of play style?
Well, I think a lot of things will come into like the dual limit. So Japan is at the dual limit of 1.
Okay.
So because of that, we'll only play with 0.2 BBs indoors. We'll use 0.25 outside and 0.28 in bolt action rifles. That limits how far your guns shoot. So basically, you'll be able to shoot 40 meters. Because of this, there's no real snipers, there's no real DMRs, and there's no MED either. So you can shoot people point blank. If you full auto someone within 1 meter, it's fine. If you headshot someone at 1 meter indoors, it's fine. Because it's one duel, it doesn't hurt. And that changes the play style. The other part of the play style is a lot of people are very defensive players. So you'll have the speed softers, of course, and they're going to play the same as all other speed softers. But when you play with just like a skirmish game, you'll find like, some of the more like military themed players like myself are going to try to basically progressively push up. We're going to find an enemy, engage them, kill them, and then take their position and keep moving on until we get the objective.
I see.
Then speed softers will be doing the same thing but faster. And then you'll have another type of player which is really just, for me, they look scared because they will just like move like 20 meters or so from base. They'll find the first barricade. They'll just hide behind that barricade for the whole game. They don't advance. They don't move into enemy territory. They might move to like one more barricade, but they might spend the entire match, and the match is like 10 minutes, behind just one barricade. And they'll just be waiting for the enemy to come into your base. And that's not going to happen on a 50-on-50 match. The bottlenecks will be at the middle of the field. So you'll have some engagements, or all the engagements in the middle of the field. But if you're in the defensive area of your base, you're never going to see contact. Right. And there's a large number of people that just stay in that area, which, you can play Airsoft any way you like. And for me, that's not fun because you don't get to shoot at people.
I see.
And I see that a lot here. But
do you think that comes from more beginners, or is it just a certain set type of player that frequents it?
I'm not sure. I definitely, the more you play and the more you get used to Airsoft, the more you don't mind being hit, and the more likely you are to rush someone. But it seems like one of the preferred playstyles here is just setting up an ambush and waiting. So like camping is the meta here.
I see.
And if it works, it works.
I feel like there's
fun.
a lot of that in video games too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's how they play in the game too.
But yeah, anyone can play Airsoft any way they like as long as they're following the rules. But yeah, you won't find me sitting in spawn waiting for the enemy to come. Like it's all about the action. It's all about basically reliving all those movies I saw in the 80s and 90s that are just the quintessential action movies, and I want to relive those movies. So that's what I'm going to do.
Imagine in that gear, you're just camping.
But yeah, each to their own. There's no wrong way to play Airsoft. The only wrong way is the way where you lose every time. All right, man. So all of that stuff sounds really interesting. Do you have like any little like secrets or something like that you can share with our viewers for upcoming products?
Again, I'm trying to not get fired, so I'm gonna say no for now. But please keep a lookout. Stay looking at our social medias, and I think in the next 6 months we should have a good amount of things for you to look at.
All right, looking forward to it. All right, final question of the day. So basically, we want airsoft to be around for a long time. I want my grandkids to enjoy it, my great grandkids to enjoy it. After that, I don't really care. But what is the best way to make sure that we can grow the industry so that it's going to be around for our kids and our kids' kids to shoot each other?
I'm really glad you asked this, and I'm really glad you're talking about kids, because I think this industry needs to focus on what type of experience we're providing for the younger players coming in. Like, one, I think it's important to use airsoft to create a really healthy relationship as a person with a firearm. You definitely,
it's a good
I
starting
think
point.
that absolutely, because I think you want to make sure that it's not just perceived as a weapon, but as something where you could enjoy your time with, and also have a discipline with. The way I kind
I
of
really
see,
agree. So like,
yeah,
I love guns. Like, it's quite obvious.
yeah,
But one thing that like blew my mind is just how incompetent I am. And I always say I would never shoot my friend. I would never negligent discharge. I would never look down the barrel of a gun and shoot myself. I have done all these things, and none of them were on purpose. Like, in my
right,
apartment, there is like 7 holes in the wall from when just different people have shot one of my guns. And I'm like, oh, it's cool. The chamber's clear. Like, all right, cool. And they dry fire it. They blow a hole from my bloody bathroom. I'm like, oh shit, there was one in the chamber. And I checked it. I cleared it. I thought it was fine. I was wrong. But
yeah,
I have maybe done this 1,000 times, but I was wrong 3 times.
right,
And these were just airsoft guns, so it's like a little hole in the wall that I can fix. But if this was a real gun, it would be a much bigger problem. So
exactly,
you need to really, really build those habits in that you, even starting with airsoft and then mastering airsoft and then going to real firearms, like as a step, like you get this whole appreciation of, yeah, they shoot stuff.
I mean, it's a very real thing, and like, unfortunately, you see a lot of things going on in the news right now in America. And what we do hope is, like, while we're here, while our team is here, and we're in this space, that we make use of our platform to create like again, like, this healthy relationship, kind of like, I want to compare it to MMA, right? Because with
Yeah.
MMA, yeah, like, you do learn how to fight and grapple and everything. But if you notice, like, some of the most talented fighters are also the nicest people, because they understand that you
Oh
either
yeah,
use it
definitely.
as a sport or you use it for defense, but you're never using it to attack, right? And
Unless
I
you're
think,
drunk.
oh yeah. And hopefully, there's not too much of that, right?
Yeah.
But the key thing is, well, if that relationship is developed early, then I think you have a more responsible future gun owner in the world. And so, that's one of our goals is to have that. And also, for experience wise, we want to make sure that the experience of an airsofter is more than just, having to show up on the field and doing the same thing every time. Like, we want to
Yeah.
allow
Capture the
you guys.
flag every game.
Yeah, exactly. Every single game. Like, we
Every
want to make
single
sure
game.
that maybe we're influencing different game modes. Maybe we're bringing game modes to your city that you could look forward to. I think these are all things that are extremely important. Creating exposure the right way, introducing airsoft the right way to new people. We have, like, very talented content creators that do a really good job. One person I always bring up is Demo, because he actually,
Oh yeah, he's
he's
great.
he's doing a great job connecting gaming with airsoft, and then just allowing people to discover airsoft in a different way. Like, unfortunately, when I first joined the company and I was trying to find more about airsoft, I was just looking at all these, like, toxic videos, of like,
Yeah, that's
bad things happening on the
definitely the
field.
first thing you see on YouTube is the toxic cheetah videos.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was just, I hated how it was so tough for me to get into airsoft because, it's something that so many people love. And I didn't feel like it needed to be that difficult for someone to get interested, but it was. And that's something that I've been on a mission to improve. And I want to say that we have, in a sense, where there's more different types of entry level content for you to be introduced to.
Yeah, as like a counterpoint to that, as someone who's played for a long time and has like made like cheetah videos, like basically I have the rule that yes, I agree 100% cheetah videos are destroying the sport. But the reason people make it is also to protect the sport. It's to shame the
I
cheaters.
agree.
It's to show that that behavior is not tolerated. And it's really just to vent frustration because when you have cheaters at a game, they're just stealing your money. That's what it is. You get ready for the game, you travel out there, you put on all your gear and stuff, you're ready to have a great game. And then you have just people absolutely ruin it. So you do
Yes.
this just to vent your frustrations because you can be angry for a whole week after just like a bad airsoft game with a ton of cheaters. So, you make the video as a little bit of revenge, but really you're doing it because you're just really angry at these players and you don't want this behavior to be tolerated. But
I
then,
definitely think for someone like you should make those videos. Like I think it's not bad content. All right. It's
right.
just I think it can't be the only content that's very
Yeah.
searchable.
So like that's my rule. So I say like, look, you're allowed to make the cheetah video,
Yeah.
but you can make it 1 per 100. So I've got like 300 videos on YouTube, so I'm
Yeah.
allowed to make 3 cheetah videos.
Absolutely.
For every
And
100 videos you upload, you can do 1 cheetah video,
yeah.
and I'm fine with that.
And it honestly, it's sometimes it's entertaining to watch. I'm not gonna lie. It's
Yeah.
sometimes on TikTok you see certain clips that you shouldn't enjoy, but it's extremely entertaining. And I think
Man,
those
I love watching a headshot where you see the guy get shot right in the face, like boom, and he like gets hit
oh my
back,
god,
or you see the BB like dug into the guy's cheek and he digs it out with a knife. You're like, fantastic. Wear a lower face mask.
I think that's part of the fun of airsoft. So
Yeah,
I'm in
there's
no
a danger
way
element.
shaming people of making that type of content. The biggest point is I think more content needs to exist, and
Yeah,
like it'd be great if like, and I think people are figuring it out. Like I see a good amount of different new ideas. Like there's a guy TS Blur that's doing and Swap
I know
Cypher
TS
that's
Blow, yeah.
doing, yeah, they're doing the, like, hey, you want to choose this box or you want to get this gun, like it's like immediate entertaining content that kind of satisfies your dopamine hit,
Yeah, it's
so
really
I
good,
do
like
enjoy those.
digestible, like 20-second content or less. Like they're really good reels.
Yeah, the reels are really, they're helping some of the creators grow pretty fast. Like one of my guys from Fight Night Valiant, shout out to Eddie, like he grew very fast off doing the short form content.
Oh, Valiant Airsoft. Yeah, I know him. He's got some really good kill streaks.
Yeah, and make sure you check him out on Fight Night. He's got some great highlights on Fight Night season 2 as well. He's one of the captains. But
Nice.
yeah, I think we should all be looking to not only add to what's entertaining in airsoft, but also add more new ideas. And that's what I really love about what's going on now is I feel like I'm starting to see a lot more ideas.
Yeah, well, we have like the technology to make it happen. We have better airsoft replicas. We have cameras that are cheaper. We have editing software that's easier. We've got AI. We've got this great ecosystem at the moment to make something that's never been done before. So it's exciting.
Absolutely. And I think there's even more coming. Again, like we talked a bit about AR, and I think once AR is a thing and a lot more people are adapting airsoft with AR, that content is going to be real time because you could definitely record what you see through AR and you could record how you're movements and how where you're shooting at. So there's gonna be more substance to it, and I think it takes the person to have the courage to be the first one to do it. And I'm really hoping that we have a lot of these types of people come out and kind of help us grow the industry based on some of these ideas.
Yeah, that would be dope. Like, the more airsoft, the better. I'm 100% for this.
Yeah. I think, one other thing that could really help is now a lot of different people from outside of the industry are starting to come in. A lot of trainers, a lot of people who, a lot of different brands who like have never really collaborated with Airsoft before are now looking our way. So, one thing to really look forward to is, well, how can some of these companies collaborate with Airsoft? I think that's going to be very exciting. There's a lot of Airsoft popping out at different malls in the U.S. I'm not sure around the globe, but in the U.S., I know for sure there's at least 40 locations of just Airsoft shooting ranges at the mall. I've even seen Airsoft arcade game come out.
I love that game. We have that in Shinjuku.
Okay, yeah, and it's actually
you bring
really,
your own gun to it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, so there's a lot of expansion coming out, and I wonder what's gonna turn out from all of that. And again, I think it takes that person to be brave enough to come out, see what's going on, and make the content that will drive more people to this hobby or sport.
Definitely, man. Nice. All right, let's finish with some hot takes. Okay, man, what is your controversial airsoft opinion?
Honestly, I really, really hate when people cannot stand airsoft being a sport. And I know like there's so many people that want to say, people take it too seriously. It doesn't make sense as a sport. But I think, for example, SpeedQB and Fight Night and CSL Airsoft, what we've done, you are an athlete when you play that. You are competing. Stuart, I don't know if you agree with this, but like, I don't understand why people have to think that it has to be just a hobby. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, Tom, what is the best gun under $300?
The best gun under $300, the KWA KOE. No bias there. It's a fact.
What's the best way to deal with cheaters in airsoft?
The best way to deal with cheaters in airsoft is to give them what they deserve. So if you have to fully automatic headshot, that's what it is. So that's what they deserve.
Are upgrades necessary, or are stock guns fine?
I think it depends on the type of player you are. If you are a competitor, I think you should be able to just run any gun and be skilled, with whatever you run. But I think because of us being an airsoft industry, I think upgrades are just too fun to not do.
Okay, what about plate carriers? Are plate carriers overrated?
Plate carriers for airsoft, yes, it's overrated. Sorry.
All right, Tom, thank you very much for coming on the show today. So for the last part, let's do a quick sign-off. Think about, friends, teammates, sponsors, anyone you like. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Well, Stuart, first of all, shout out to you for doing this, hosting me. Again, it's an honor to be on here. Anytime I get a chance to talk to you and kind of talk to the fans and listeners, I'm really appreciative for those opportunities. Big shout out to my entire team, to our sponsors and partners. Without you guys, none of this is possible. We can't do anything fun. I think it takes a good team and a good environment to accomplish big things, and that's what we have. So I really appreciate that. And most of all, shout out to everyone that constantly supports the being on the KWA Army and just sends us pictures and videos all the time, constantly engages with us on social media. Our Fight Night fans, Tactical League attendees, everyone in the KWA world, really appreciate you guys. If you guys haven't already, follow KWA on YouTube, KWA Insider. KWA _airsoft on Instagram. And yeah, and most of all, just have fun.
Nice. Well, man, hopefully I'll be able to see you on the field one day and shoot you.
And we're going to talk more about Tackle League, all right? So stay tuned.
All right, man. Bye.
Take care.
This episode is brought to you by Hefe's Airsoft Solutions. Use code DEFRO10 at checkout.